Hi, welcome to one more episode of Zindagi Ka Safar. And when we're looking at Zindagi Ka Safar, one is there are people whom you meet, and though you meet them, might have met them long back, but they have uh, something which gets bonded. Yeah. So we are joined by Girish Baga, and both of us used to be working the same organization, and I think we interacted a few times because I was into the training function, he was into the sales, and he attended a couple of trainings with me, and we had interacted. And even though when he moved on, or I moved on from the particular organization, but every time uh, I used to go to Mysore, and what you see behind is some of the pictures from the Mysore palace. Yeah. So I always used to remember Girish, and I used to always think that, okay, should I give him a call, because we were on touch on phone or messaging or WhatsApp recently. But by the time you travel all the way from Bangalore to Mysore, I never got the chance. So today, when he has come over, I'm going to be talking to him about uh, his Zindagi Ka Safar. He's doing a lot of different things about his interest and otherwise. So, Girish, one more time, welcome to this episode. Share a little bit about your life journey, or as we call it, as Zindagi Ka Safar.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Basically, I'll tell you. I'll start off with my uh, education so that I'll so that it gives a lot of perspective about my journey right from my
Definitely.
education days. Now,
Definitely.
basically, we migrated to Mysore in the 80s when I was in
Hmm.
school,
Hmm.
and Mysore is always known for good institutions. Some of the institutions are century old. So
Hmm.
I was fortunate to have studied in one of the institutions by name Marimallappa,
Hmm.
which was known as the number one school in state those times.
Okay.
Those times the ranks were given.
Hmm.
I'm sure you're all aware of it.
Hmm.
Ranks were given, and we were supposed to be the number one school in Karnataka, I would say.
Wow.
And I was fortunate to have studied there.
Hmm.
And if you look at my classmates, my classmates are settled across the globe.
Hmm.
Among those talented group, I was an average student, I would say. Though for
Oh.
outside standards, I might have been a good, brilliant students or whatever. But
Hmm.
among those the bright set of students, I was always considered as an average student.
Okay.
So I would say, having studied in such institution, it taught us how humble you have to be. That
Hmm.
was the one thing. Because, see, for example, I'll give you I scored 99 in mathematics in 10th standard.
Okay.
And
Wow.
everybody used to say that 99 out of 100 is a good thing. But
Hmm.
there was always not a moment to rejoice, because there were 29 students who scored 100 out of 100. So this was the kind of situation we always used to face.
uh,
So I never felt I'm special
uh,
being among such set of students. So that's how I studied here. And PU, again, let me be very honest and submit my thing. Having studied, scored 99 in 10th standard, I
uh.
scored 30 in mathematics in second PU.
Oh.
So there was always uh, so much of an extremities within a span of 2 years.
Hmm.
Then I got scared about subjects like physics, mathematics, chemistry. Then
Uh,
I joined the BSc, botany,
okay.
biochemistry, and microbiology.
Hmm.
I studied life sciences.
Okay.
So I would say, because of my struggle in life, I had to study different subjects. That gave me a perspective about multidisciplinary approach.
Hmm. Hmm.
Then I did my MBA. So
Hmm.
moving from life sciences to MBA again was a different
Very
ball
different.
game.
Yes.
Then I got selected in SDFC Bank as a management trainee. I joined
Hmm.
as an officer. I
Hmm.
worked in a banking institution,
Hmm.
having studied MBA marketing and getting into a new age banking. Though banking was picking up in
Hmm.
2000,
Hmm.
and banking per se was not about accounts, as you all know it. It
Yes.
was basically a hybrid kind of thing. So
Hmm.
I joined banking. Then I moved to ING Vaisya,
Hmm.
into the insurance sector.
Hmm.
Insurance sector, uh, basically 2002 was the period where most of the private players started, entering India.
Very true.
And ING was one of them.
Yeah.
ING, when we actually joined ING, we didn't know anything about ING.
Yeah.
But when I attended my first, meeting with ING people for my orientation, then I realized how big is ING. Because those times, Shell, British Petroleum were the companies which topped the market capitalization list. Those times, it was about 2 decades back. ING was also in the top 5 or 10, if I remember.
Yes.
So
True.
I realized I've joined such a big company. I mean, yeah. Then I was fortunate to have gurus like you. Actually, I would say,
Okay.
because you're the one who actually you taught me the concept of human life value.
Hmm.
Why I'm pressing on this is it's very, very, very important, because we never realized the potential of an individual.
Hmm.
We always considered a very routine thing, and that most of the driving force was making money or making career. That's what.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
human life value was
Hmm.
always a concept which I still remember. I must thank you for
Okay.
introducing me such concept. Actually,
Hmm.
even today I remember. I mean, though many of my colleagues couldn't and actually implement it at a ground level,
Hmm.
but I was actually practicing it. I was actually enjoying it actually.
Hmm. Hmm.
And the outcome was amazing, I would say.
Hmm.
I mean, the human life value of a driver, human life value of a CEO, human life value of a doctor, human life value
Yes.
of any professional or any
Hmm.
salaried class or a
Hmm.
small time business person, it is
Hmm.
immense actually.
Hmm.
I mean,
Hmm.
if you consider the collective human life value, the impact which is actually on the society is profound, I would say.
Hmm.
It's,
Hmm.
it's, it's, it's very significant.
Yes.
So considering all that, what struck to my mind was there are basically two things which our economy or any society should be concentrating.
Hmm.
What are those two things? Those two things are your education and healthcare.
Hmm.
Today, if you look at, most of us talk about GDP growth, the
Hmm.
advancement of a country,
Hmm.
developed nation, developing nation. There are different nomenclatures, different parameters, different indicators which define an economy, which define a society, health of a
Hmm.
society,
Hmm.
or the success of a man, or success of a person, success of a
Hmm.
company,
Hmm.
success of industry, corporate, all these things. But
Hmm.
the crux of all these outcome basically depends on two things which I've realized.
Hmm.
Those two things are education and healthcare. Why?
Hmm.
I'll tell you, education and healthcare. If we
Hmm.
have to be a good economy, a flourishing, a robust economy,
Hmm.
what is important? It is not about the kind of natural resources what you have. If, for
Hmm.
example, if you consider Afghanistan,
Hmm.
which is a country which has abundant natural resources, but yet
Hmm.
they're not able to actually unleash it or realize their potential. So
Hmm.
what matters is your human resources.
Hmm.
For human resources, what is important? Your education is important, because only through education you will realize your worth. You will
Hmm.
realize your maximum potential. So
Hmm.
health, I mean, that is one important thing which a country or an economy needs:
Hmm.
education and
Hmm.
healthcare. Why healthcare? During my conversation with you in the later part of the discussion, I will
Hmm.
tell you why healthcare is so important. For
Hmm.
example, a healthy man always will carry a positive mindset.
Yeah.
A man with a positive mindset, with a good education background,
Hmm.
will bring in a lot of changes in the economy or society. So
Hmm.
that's the reason why you should take care of your human resources
Hmm.
through your education and healthcare. These
Hmm.
are the two things which actually struck to my mind. And I
Hmm.
always thought that, whatever I do, I should be doing something in these two areas. And
Okay.
of course, I had a very, good reading habit.
Hmm.
I realized education is one actually which can actually make a lot of difference.
Hmm.
At the same time, can give you a lot of opportunities also
Hmm.
in making this society a better place to live. This is
Hmm.
how I actually realized this. And I mean, of course, I could not realize it immediately during my 2000, early 2000 or later part of 2000, because you know it. I mean, I come from a middle class family. I mean, you have a livelihood, I mean, which should support you. So all those things, all those dreams, aspirations were not realized at that point of time. Then I got into banking. I worked there. Then somehow, I mean, my mind was always, going after the education thing.
Okay.
Then I actually doing a lot of research, not in the sense proper kind of literature review, what, the regular PhDs or the research graduates do, but it was basically research, doing research, gaining a lot of knowledge about education and getting some direction about education. Then what I did was I got an opportunity to work as a teaching faculty in one of the
Wow.
MBA schools in Mysore. I taught as a professor there. Then what happened was, by that time, I had already put in decades experience in financial institutions, banking or insurance. And banking gave me a lot of opportunities to, get used to different financial products like mutual funds, or fee-based, products, your banking products like current account, savings account, the rational, asset liability management, all those things I learned. Then what happened was I got into the teaching. Then even in B schools, there was a need for a faculty who could do subjects like strategic credit management, microfinance, and most importantly, mergers and acquisition. The subjects like mergers and acquisition. Mergers and acquisition, normally what happened was most of them think that, it is a finance subject, but though it is not a finance subject, it's a very strategic subject. It draws inference from different domains. For example, disciplines like HR, finance, marketing, operations, because when you try to establish a synergy between two companies when they are merging, or when somebody takes over, when somebody acquires a company, another company, all those things, that synergy has to be established. Synergy will not be only in one domain. Basically, will not be in finance. It will be synergy should be established in different domains like finance, operations, marketing, all those things. Then there was always a need for a faculty who could teach all these aspects under one umbrella. Then I realized there is an opportunity, because as you know, I had already put in efforts by way of maybe a marketing. I had my marketing degree, and I worked in banking and insurance. Then I got an opportunity to meet different kind of people. And being in banking, I used to do a lot of project funding. So I used to come across different people with different multifaceted background. So I had some glimpse of the economy, different fields. Then I thought, let me take this up. This is how my journey towards the teaching started, with strategic subjects like mergers and acquisition. And I was quite successful also, because I brought in different perspective on relating to this subject. Then I got an opportunity to do research also. I was fortunate to get a funding from Indian Council of Social Science Research also. I did a few projects on many topics like financial inclusion and many things. And I was funded by Indian Council of Social Science Research. So this gave me a lot of, it was an eye opener basically. But then what happened was my management, I worked for an institution called JSS Center for Management Studies, which is under the aegis of JSS Mahavidyapita. I would like to throw some light on JSS Mahavidyapita. JSS Mahavidyapita is basically a 1,000-year-old mutt, basically a religious institution. And they were in education field from the last 7 or 8 decades. And they have about 400 institutions under their umbrella. And the pontiff, the chief of mutt, actually promoted me as a director, looking after all CBSE schools. CBSE schools in the group. We had about 15, 16 schools. And I opened 2-3 schools also when I joined at this capacity. So that gave me a perspective. The institution which were 30 years old to an institution which I opened. So life cycle of different institutions gave me immense experience. That's one thing. And learning, and I was also involved in a strategic plan for the entire institution, because they had right from medical college to universities to from pre-KG to the master's level, and hospitals also. So that gave me a perspective about education. I was fortunate to have been involved in this project as a coordinator for heading the strategic plan for the entire institution. That's how I got into the education thing on a full scale basis. Then I thought, I was always thinking that I should do something on my own. Then I got an opportunity with two other promoters. Then we started our chain of preschools. I would not say that it's a chain of preschool yet, but now we have two units functional in Mysore, and we are actually on the verge of opening 8 more units across Karnataka. But unfortunately, because of COVID, we were not able to open those 8, which are under construction at a finishing stage. But by this year, we were actually supposed to have 30 units, but unfortunately, because of COVID, it has hit us very badly. But yet, our concepts, our theme remains the same. Why? I'll tell you why we got into preschool kind of thing. I'll tell you. Because, see, I'll relate again your human life value I was talking about. I'll relate to this. See, basically what happens is when a kid is born, your 85% of your brain development happens before you reach 6 years. Yeah, 85% of development of your brain happens before you reach 6 years. Now, all these years, what we actually used to assume is preschools, what suddenly strikes to your mind is children are sent to a school which is operating in a house. They go, they play something, they sleep for a while, they eat and come back. That was the concept all these years. And most of us assume the preschool concept to be like, to be that way. But it is not so. I'll tell you. Because preschool, why preschool is so important? The name itself says preschool. You're getting ready, the kids ready for the schooling. Schooling in the sense, not just your formal years of education, it is for your entire life. Your entire life is a school, your entire life is a learning process. So the research has evidenced saying that, whoever has got a good preschooling background, they've always excelled well in their life. Be in the capacity of artist, he could be an artist, he could be a doctor, he could be an engineer, he could be whatnot. But a preschooling lays a strong foundation towards their overall development, be it their professional development, their personal development. A good preschooling always gives you a strong foundation towards your human life value. It always gives you a lot of significance on the relationship, the kind of relationship, what they maintain in their life also. So we realized this is an area we should be working on it. So then we realized preschooling is not just about the education. It's also about when I say that 85% of your brain development happens before 6 years, it also has to be complemented with good nutrition and good psychological factors also, because only with the development, physical development will not yield you results. So it has to be complemented with good inputs from nutritional aspects and also from the psychological aspects and all the behavioral aspects. So then we realized if you have to open a preschool, it has to be a holistic one. Holistic in the sense it has to cater to the development of the child in all respects, in all aspects. For example, a child has to be self-reliant psychologically, self-reliant physically. Physically means nutritional aspects, and also the development. So all these, considering all these aspects, we realized we should do something which nobody has done it. But fortunately, the new education policy also talks about ECCE, Early Childhood Care and Education, and our concept, our format, what we actually have done too in Mysore is exactly in line with the new education policy. I would proudly say that we are the first preschools across the country to have done it much before the policy was implemented recently. So that's how we got into this concept. And our concept says, unlike any other preschools, we don't operate from a house. What we do is basically we take a vacant plot, we build it according to our requirement, and we have a preschool play area. We have infrastructure which is aesthetically very, very good. Why? I'll tell you why. The infrastructure has to be unique and very, very credible, and it has to be good in all senses. I'll tell you something. See, for example, you must have observed a phenomena wherein whenever a child comes from his home and the parents comes to the school and leaves the child at school, children normally 99% of the children start crying. You must have observed.
Yes.
So basically, why do they cry? I mean, nobody would have thought about it, but there is a logic behind it. Why would they cry? Because there is something called as psychologically a separation anxiety. So they actually experience something called as separation anxiety. So when the child is going away from the parent, they experience this separation anxiety. That's how they start crying. So when they are separated from a parent for a brief period, of course, for 2-3 hours, they come into a different world which is away from their house, their home, away from the parents. It is an alien environment for them. They'll be with the unknown people or strangers in an unknown place. So this separation anxiety has a profound effect on the child's psychology. When the child reaches the school, if the school is not in a position to actually excite the child or bring in a lot of interest in the child, then what happens is children become very, very, very dull. Their mindset, their psychological aspects will not be towards learning new things. They will not be open to any new things which you introduce for their development. So this has to be eliminated. For that reason, our structure is aesthetically very good. The child feels that it has entered a dreamland. And it has a lot of scope for play area. It has a lot of scope for other fun-filled things. That's how these learning aspects come into the picture. And there are different aspects which actually paves way for the child's there. This is how we have actually. I'm just giving an example about separation anxiety. Yes. There are many things which actually can go on for hours. So this is how we've done it. And the new education policy is 100% in line with what we have done it. And of course, I would say that we are in line with the new education policy. And new education policy also stresses a lot of emphasis on the human development. As I earlier told you, for a country's development, education and healthcare, why it is important. So with that background, this new education policy, the national education policy, gives a lot of significance towards the development of the human resources. And they've divided it into different categories. For example, for school education, college education, things like that. And I will talk more about on the school education. And the school education is also divided into 4 areas. 5 years, 3 years, 3 years, 4 years. I would say 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. 5 years. First, it is foundation level. Unlike the previous years, the school, the official school used to start by LKG, not pre-KG. But going forward, the official school would start from pre-KG, right from 3 years. So foundation level is for 5 years, 3 to 8 years, which is between pre-KG, LKG, UKG, first standard and second standard. This is foundation level. Next comes is third standard, fourth standard, fifth standard, which is your primary school. That's how you get into the schooling. 6th, 7th, 8th form a middle school level, and 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th will be a senior secondary level according to the new education policy. 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. Now you must have seen PUC. There are standalone PU colleges existing in the society today. But all those things, standalone PU college kind of things, will go away going forward once this new education policy is implemented. So your entire schooling, secondary schooling, will be between 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. 4 years across 8 semesters. Each year you will have 2 semesters. So
Okay.
spread across 4 years, you'll have 8 semesters.
Hmm.
The reason why it is actually done that way is to eliminate the high stakes exams like your 10th and 12th standards.
Hmm.
Because people, I mean, children fall into a lot of stress because
Hmm.
of these high stake exams.
Hmm.
Because as parents, you must have experienced that, your high stake exams will kill the creativity of a child.
Hmm.
And these high stake exams are mostly revolving around the domain knowledge.
Yes.
For example, your CT or NEET, all those
Correct.
things talk about the subject related aspects.
Hmm.
None of them actually talk about the competency based assessment.
Hmm.
It's all about the domain specific exams, high stakes
Hmm.
exams.
Hmm.
Then what comes into picture is when the domain specific exams are involved, then obviously people actually get into reiteration of the same subject. They
Hmm.
get into a rote method of learning.
Hmm.
They by heart
Hmm.
and go and attend the exam. So
Hmm.
learning aspect is missing.
Hmm.
So what they've done is 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, spread across 4 years, 8 semester. The
Hmm.
assessment will be on a formative level.
Okay.
And your high stakes exams are eliminated. And your assessment weightage is given equally for all 8 semesters
Hmm.
for 4 years.
Hmm.
Or basis your formative assessment.
Hmm.
Formative assessment will not be on the domain specific knowledge. It will be basically on the competency based knowledge. For example, I enter ninth and I
Hmm.
take up physics along with psychology. And
Okay.
tomorrow psychology interests me the most. Then
Hmm.
what I do is actually I take up more credits on psychology
Hmm.
instead of mandatory learning many things.
Okay.
Nowadays, what has happened is up till 10th, you have to
Hmm.
study subject whether you like it or not.
Hmm.
Those things will go away from the system.
Hmm.
Then what happens is once you finish your 12th, you will carry a competency based score. Your competency score will give you an opportunity to visit whichever college interests you the most. For example, if I want to be a lawyer, I will prepare myself to be a lawyer right from my ninth.
Hmm.
I carry my competency score, which
Hmm.
can be in sync with the lawyer profession. I
Hmm.
approach a law college and
Hmm.
start applying for the law courses.
Hmm.
If my competency is towards medical education,
Hmm.
I will carry my competency score,
Hmm.
which is actually skewed towards more on my skills on medical subjects. Then
Hmm.
I'll start applying on medical colleges.
Okay.
Likewise, physics, chemistry, these are different subjects. So
Hmm.
that way, the new education policy definitely throws more emphasis on nation building.
Hmm.
Nation building, how it happens, it is basically happens through developing your human resources.
Hmm.
So that's how this is designed. And in case if it is implemented effectively, I'm
Hmm.
sure in a decade's time, I mean, it will change the scenario in the country. I mean, I mean, it's a clear, demarcation from other countries. We would do much more than what is expected.
Oh,
Definitely,
that's
yes, sir.
wonderful.
This
I
is how.
think, yeah, that's a lovely uh, thought process which you had, and
Yeah.
your life journey in a way has complemented, and you yourself have gone about creating the opportunities which is there, and uh, really appreciate the huge amount of thoughts which you have got into, even though schooling and education has become as equally commercial as any other thing which is there. So lovely that you have shared us so much details about not only your life but about uh, the preschool which you are now in charge of and advocating, and also about the new education policy. We will get into a little bit more of trying to know about your other interests and other thought process which is there. So, for example, as you said, you have stayed in Mysore quite a lot, which is there. So, according to you, what are the advantages or benefits of staying in a smaller town compared to, let's say, bigger city like either Bangalore or Mumbai or Chennai? A place like
Sir,
Mysore?
yeah,
Uh,
Mysore as a place is very unique, sir. I'll tell you why. Staying in Mysore gives you a lot of opportunity to learn. I'll tell you, there are thorough career bureaucrats and people who have put in a lot of experience, who have worked across the globe, have come back to Mysore, have settled in Mysore. Mysore,
Okay.
anyways, is known as a
Retire.
retirement paradise.
City
So
paradise.
you get people from all facets of life settling in Mysore.
Okay.
And Mysore is a quiet place, a
Hmm.
very nice place, and you get an opportunity to interact with such big personalities.
Hmm.
That's one way of actually learning many things.
Yes.
Though being in Mysore, you might not have traveled across the globe or never got an opportunity to interact with many cities or any areas.
Hmm.
But through these experienced people, you get a glimpse of what was happening, what is happening
Correct.
across the globe, across different cities of Karnataka. That is one aspect. And
Hmm.
second aspect is Mysore is known for good institutions. As I told you, I mean,
Hmm.
we were fortunate to have ruled by Mysore Maharajas in Mysore,
Hmm.
especially one Maharaja, Krishna Rajendra Wadiyar, actually established third medical college in India, the first
Hmm.
university, things like
Hmm.
that. So
Hmm.
Mysore, anyways, is known for such good educational institution,
Hmm.
and you get an access to these institutions, you get an access to these libraries, you get an access to go to the lecture series, all those things. So
Hmm.
learning was never a challenge for Mysoreans like us.
Okay.
And third important aspect is having studied in such good institutions, you have friends across the globe,
Hmm. Yes.
and well, your classmates always come back home during vacations, all those
Yes.
things. You get what is happening across the globe, and because of the technological advancement, it is not that Mysore is away and it is completely cut off from the outside world. I mean, we are
Hmm.
always connected. And though I'll give you this perspective, though we are about 120 kilometers away from Bangalore, but we live in different times, I would say. Bangalore is in a different time,
Uh,
Mysore is in a different time, and if you move towards some forest dwellers like HD Kote, all those things, they live in a different time. So within a span of 150 to 180 kilometers, there are
hmm.
three worlds which exist. Bangalore lives in a different time, Mysore lives in a different time,
Uh,
and forest dwellers like in HD Kote or whatever, these forest Bandipur, they live
hmm.
in a different times. So you get an opportunity to actually interact to these different worlds.
Hmm.
That's immense actually, and which no other place in India can give you such perspective. Can you
Yes.
believe that we have tigers about 60-70 kilometers from Mysore? Nobody would believe it actually. That's how
Hmm.
the positioning of Mysore should have been, but unfortunately it has not been like
Not
that.
been. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's a quite a insightful view about the city where you are, which is Mysore. For
Yeah.
someone like me who is based in Bangalore, as you said, it's 120 kilometers. So for us, normally it has been just coming over and uh, just visit few tourist place or bring our relatives, show it to them. Uh, Few times I have one is during ING time. Few times I have visited the ING office there, but I used to work in Infosys, so uh, there have been I have come to the Infosys campus. So there's a lot of IT uh, as a job opportunity also there in Mysore, and it's a
Yes.
beautiful campus which at least Infosys definitely has. Um, and as you I think very rightly said, the civic uh, quality of living is much better than any big city like Bangalore. I will definitely want to come and stay in Mysore. As you pointed out, there are so many advantages which is there. Okay, coming to the next one. So uh, I don't know whether this is a very right question to ask, but for example, let's say guests come to your place. So will you be offering them a Mysore Bonda or Mysore Park? Both of them seems to be having Mysore as a branding, but are they actually from Mysore? This is my first question, and the second is, what do you prefer among the two, which I just spoke about?
Basically, if given an opportunity, I would offer both
Things to
items to my
oh,
guests.
lovely.
Yeah. And Mysore Park has an interesting story behind it.
Huh.
Basically, there was a cook who used to work in Mysore Palace.
Okay.
And Mysore Maharaja was fond of sweets.
Huh.
And he was eating the regular sweets on a
Huh.
daily basis. Then one day he called the cook.
Hmm.
He asked him, every day I'm eating the same set of sweets.
Hmm.
Prepare something which is unique.
Hmm.
Then cook, what struck his mind is he took some percentage of gram flour,
Hmm.
mixed it with sugar, with
Mhm.
lot of ghee, and
Hmm.
prepared
Hmm.
and served it very hot to the Maharaja.
Hmm.
Maharaja liked it.
Okay.
It was a very unique sweet which was never discovered before.
Hmm.
Then, since it was first discovered in Mysore, they named it after Mysore. It was
Okay.
paka. Paka is basically a dish.
Okay.
So it was named after Mysore Paka. So from then it was known as Mysore Paka. And the cook who actually discovered it,
Hmm.
their family even today runs a sweet shop in Mysore.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, the sweet shop is known for Mysore Pak. That's the original recipe.
Hmm.
You will not find it elsewhere. The
Okay.
original recipe, which was actually offered to Maharaja, still exists in Mysore. That formula is not disclosed to anybody. The
Hmm.
family carries it, and even today the family runs it.
So what
So
is the
if you
shop
come to
called?
Mysore, I would definitely offer it.
Okay. What is the shop called?
Guru Sweets.
Guru Sweets.
Yeah, Guru Sweets. They are the
This
original
I was
makers
not.
of Mysore
This
Pak.
I was not aware that there is one
Oh,
shop which is so famous, which is there, because we end up,
yeah.
and I think you, as you rightly pointed out, there are so many varieties of Mysore Pak which is available all over any
Now
sweet
a
shop
lot
which we
of
go. Yeah. So
yeah.
even Bangalore, Chennai, and all. There is a friend of mine. She travels from Chennai to Nagpur, which is
Okay.
my hometown, and she will
Okay.
say, "I have carried Mysore Pak." I said, "How can you carry Mysore Pak coming all the way from Chennai? I should be doing it, being closer to Mysore, and I should be bringing Mysore Pak for my friends, which is there." So that
Yeah.
is one thing. What about
Yeah.
Bonda?
And it's
Is
a
it?
small
What about Mysore Bonda? In a way,
Mysore Bonda. I mean,
is there
basically, I
something called
mean,
Mysore Bonda, or was it Bangalore
Mysore,
Bonda?
no, Bonda. I mean, as far as I know, Bonda is a very generic name.
Generic.
There's
Okay.
nothing called Mysore Bonda. I mean, of course,
Okay.
there's something called as Madhur Vada. Madhur Vada is basically is famous in this part of Karnataka, basically. But
So
Mysore Bonda, as such,
is it made in Mysore? Was it originated in Mysore, or just famous because of
no,
its
it's just. I mean,
okay,
see, Mysore was known for a
popular dish?
culturally. Yeah. It's a popular dish, of course.
Okay. Okay. So
But
one.
Mysore Pak, of course, I
Yeah.
can proudly say that I
Yeah.
can claim that it belongs to Mysore.
Yeah. Good. Because the other option was asking about Mysore sandal soap, but then the factory is some is very close to my home in Bangalore, and it says Mysore
Okay,
sandal soap, and I believe
true.
it was made there. It is.
Yeah, it
It's
was
not.
made there.
Yeah,
The
it's
original
made in Bangalore.
factory is still, yeah,
Okay,
correct.
so
Mysore
I stay in
sandal
Rajaji
soap
Nagar,
and
so it
Mysore
is the
agarbattis.
yeah, agarbattis and soap, Mysore sandal soap, which
So
is quite
correct,
a great soap,
true.
which is there. So okay, great.
It's an
Uh,
iconic brand, I would say.
it's iconic brand. The other one, I think,
Yeah,
um, we are more guys, but again, the other thing will be Mysore silk as an example. I think.
Mysore
Uh,
silk is definitely a world-renowned type of silk.
yes.
Mysore silk, even today we have our silk factory, KSIC,
Hmm.
Karnataka State Silk Corporation.
Hmm.
It's very famous. And Mysore silk is known for centuries.
Hmm.
It's very famous.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we come to the last question for you, because as a finance person, I need to also understand this bit. So, uh, what will be one top thing in your budget list which is there, which you always try to control? And the other is, what are your thoughts about investing your money? So, how do you go about investing your money? And the first one is, what is one expense which you will try to control, or do you think this is something I need to always look at?
Basically, see, unnecessary cost. Unnecessary cost like investing. I mean, I would say I'm basically a minimalist.
Okay.
So if you have a few pairs of cloths, that's enough. So I would,
Yes.
my preference is to cut down on these things. And of course my priority is on investing on the books and travel. I've not
lovely.
done a serious travel, but I should actually start looking at a travel as a serious priority going
Okay,
forward.
good.
Books of course is definitely I love to actually
Okay, read books. Okay.
reading
Um,
read books.
So I think that's wonderful, Girish. Uh, in the last 40, 45 minutes, we have got a very good understanding of your life journey, and it's really a motivational life journey which is there. And you seem to be moving in a very well thought out path which is there. And it's not only about doing a job, you are very passionate about it, and you look at the bigger picture of many of us forget that finally whatever we are doing, if we have the bigger picture of nation building or looking at the welfare of the society, that will always work out, and uh, you will give you immense pleasure which is there. And thanks also for sharing some of the tidbits and information with our viewers. So I really hope we are not very far off. So if you sometime in the future come to Bangalore, definitely we'll try to meet up, or I next time definitely
Please
when
sir,
I'm coming to
you're most
Mysore, I will.
welcome sir. You should and I'll welcome you as a guru because you've always been considered as my guru.
Okay,
So you should visit.
definitely, definitely.
my
Okay,
my dad
yeah.
always used to say something, sir.
Hmm.
Whatever the objectives you actually have in your life, you stick to those, fulfilling those objectives.
Yeah.
Money, name, fame, money, everything is a byproduct.
Very
Once
true.
you fulfill your objectives,
Hmm.
you would definitely, these are all byproducts that
Hmm.
eventually will come.
Hmm.
See, Reliance Ambani wouldn't definitely think of being the richest man. He would
Yes.
definitely think of being the biggest telecom company or a biggest refinery.
Hmm.
And all these things are just byproducts. That's how I would actually see it, sir. And
Okay.
thanks for the opportunity for providing a platform to interact with you, sir. Thank you so much.
I think it was a pleasure. Yeah. So wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you so
Bye.
much. Bye,
Bye.
sir. Bye. Bye. Bye.